Well, hello viewers and welcome to Business Chronic, a segment that examines business policies within the continent and at the global stage. I'm Michael Dibet. Oil prices recently rose sharply after the killing of a top Iranian general in Iraq. Analysts warn that action could escalate tensions in the region and affect global oil production. The price of Brent crude jumped more than 3% and at one point hit $69.50 a barrel, the highest since September. However, the global benchmark for crude oil rose above $70 a barrel on Monday for the first time in over 3 months, with jitters rising over escalating military tensions between Iran and the United States. All 7 bosses in the Gulf Cooperation Council stayed close in the red on the first trading day since the death of powerful military commander Qasem Soleimani. All 6 member states, Bahrain, Kuwait, Oman, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, and United States Arab Emirates, are U.S. allies and lie on the opposite side of the narrow Gulf, making them easy target for the Islamic Republic. This recent strike has sparked fears of increased risk to enjoy energy supplies in the region. The price of the international benchmark Brent crude climbed 3.5% on Friday, while U.S. oil, known as West Texas Intermediate increased about 3%. An AU-based economist analyzes the impact of the tension between Iran and the United States on oil prices, saying a possible disruption to crude coming out of the Middle East could put a lot of upward pressure on the prices. Let's listen to him.
Well, the Middle East still remains extremely influential and important in terms of being a reliable source of crude oil and natural gas to international markets. So about 1/5 of the world's total oil production comes from the countries that border around the Strait of Hormuz. So if there is any disruption to flows of crude coming out of that region, then that would necessarily put a lot of upward pressure on prices.
Now, in terms of scaling of price move, it is pretty tricky to put an exact number on it, but certainly moving from 60 to 70 range to 70 to 80 US barrel range will be much more likely. Let's hear from Bell once again.
Seen investment from countries in the region in diversifying their, let's say, avenues to get crude out to the rest of the world. So Saudi Arabia does have a capacity to export via the Red Sea. The United Arab Emirates can also export via Fujairah, which bypasses the Strait of Hormuz. So there are some opportunities for these countries to be able to bypass it. They're not quite the same capacity level that we see as the ports in the Gulf itself, but there is an ability for them to get crude out into international markets if there is a disruption for a prolonged period of time.
The Middle East is home to several of the world's biggest oil producers, including Iraq, where the U.S. and Iran have clashed before. Now, here are top 10 oil producers countries by million of barrels produced in a day. U.S. we have 17.2 million, Russia 11.5 million, Saudi Arabia 9.8 million, Canada 5.4 million, Iraq 4.7 million, China 4 million, UAE 3 million, Brazil 2.7 million, Kuwait 2.7 million, and Iran 2.4 million. Well, away from that, in a similar vein, OPEC oil output fell in December as Nigeria and Iraq had held more closely to pledge reductions, and top exporter Saudi Arabia made further cuts ahead of a new production limit. Now, according to a survey, on average, the 14-member organization of the petroleum exporting countries, OPEC, pumped 29.50 million barrels per day last month, down from 50,000 from November. OPEC, Russia, and other allies known as OPEC Plus had an agreement to reduce supply by 1.2 million barrels per day in 2019. OPEC's share of the cut was about 800,000 barrels per day to be made by 11 members with exceptions of Iran, Libya, and Venezuela. Now, the December survey suggests Nigeria and Iraq, both making cuts in 2019, achieved some progress. Well, viewers, with this, we come to the end of this week's segment of Business Chronic. Till we come to you next time, keep the conversation open at our various social media handles and at Africanews.com. and bye for now.